And let me thank the SCLC, the Drum Major Institute, Martin Luther King III, and Dr. Charles Steele for inviting me to participate in this enormously important call to action. An issue I think that Dr. Steele correctly pointed out, we are not talking about enough. This is an issue of enormous consequence. I am reminded that a few months ago, I visited with my wife and many other members of Congress, Selma, Alabama, to honor the incredible bravery of those who marched, who put their lives on the line on Bloody Sunday 50 years ago. And we understand that change does not take place, and that is the theme, I think, today, unless people stand up and say enough is enough. We are not going to see democracy undermined in the United States of America. How can we go around the world and talk to developing countries about the importance of democracy when we are losing important elements of our own democracy? Enough is enough. In my view, we are seeing a multi-pronged attack on democracy in America today, and the results of that is in this last election, 63% of the American people did not vote, 80% of young people did not vote, 75% of low-income working people did not vote. So what we are seeing is a low voter turnout, but we're also seeing something else that should be put on the table. And one of the reasons that people are not voting is they're saying, well, I have one vote, but there are millionaires and billionaires out there that are pouring huge amounts of money into the political process. Does that sound like democracy? When one family can put more money into the political process than either the Democratic or Republican Party? Does it sound like democracy when billionaires are literally buying candidates? That doesn't sound like democracy to me. And obviously, what we are here today to focus on is that it has been 2 years since the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act, which has unleashed a torrent, as Martin Luther King III just told us, of state legislation, which is disenfranchising people all over the country. Now, I guess there are not many elected officials up here. I'm an elected official. I have run for office on many occasions. Sometimes I've won and sometimes I've lost. It has never occurred to me to run in an election and figure out a way that I could suppress the vote. My job as a candidate is to get people to vote for me based on my ideas. My job is not to figure out a way to keep people whose views are different from mine from voting. And let me be very clear and say it in a nonpartisan way. Anybody who is suppressing the vote, anybody who is intentionally trying to keep people from voting because that candidate knows that those people will vote against him or her, that person is a political coward. That person is undermining American democracy.
That's right.
If you don't have the guts to run for office on your ideas, then you shouldn't run for office at all. You shouldn't be running for office trying to keep people, trying to suppress the vote. And as we've already heard, we already have serious problems in terms of voter turnout, lower than many other countries, and in terms of how we register to people to vote. In my view, and we will introduce legislation on that, I believe today, we will make voter registration automatic. Shouldn't be complicated. If you're 18 years of age, guess what? You are registered to vote. Other countries are doing that. As has been heard, many other countries have 95% people who are registered to vote. We are at 68%. That is wrong. Furthermore, as Martin Luther King III said, there is nothing holy about voting on a Tuesday. We want to celebrate democracy, and we have introduced legislation, and I guess Senator Schumer has as well, to make voting day on a weekend where people have the opportunity to be thinking, have the opportunity and the time to get out and vote. I think the issue is pretty clear. if we believe in a vibrant democracy, we want to have the highest voter turnout in the world, not the lowest. And we must oppose ruthlessly and as hard as we can any effort to suppress the vote. Voter fraud is, in fact, a serious crime in my view and should be punished. The good news is we have virtually no voter fraud in America. What is the fraud is the people are changing laws because of so-called voter fraud. That's the fraud. And our job is to say, sorry, if you don't like it, don't participate in the political process. But in America, everybody who is eligible to vote, if you're poor, if you are old, if you don't have a car, if you don't have a gun hunting license, everybody in America is entitled to vote. That's American democracy. And if you don't like it, move to a country that doesn't believe in democracy. Thank you very much.